Drive charging.
Terra Neuh one, episode 6. Today we're going to be talking about sports movies.
This is the Knightwatchman.
I am Rubber Ducky.
Dark Intern.
But yes, sports movies.
We're hot in the middle of the college football season.
Yeah.
The NFL basketball just started up this week.
NASCAR's ending.
NASCAR's about to end.
Baseball's
Hockey's
just
getting
ended.
rolling.
So we got a lot of sports going on right now, and college basketball starts up.
Started
this
last
week.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sports movies. What's I'll
Intern
start with
started.
Mr. Intern.
How many do you want me?
Just your favorite one
Yeah.
Favorite sports movie? Huh?
What was your first sports movie?
first.
Well, I don't know what my first one was, but my favorite's probably Coach Carter. I think that's probably like my favorite.
Good one,
movie.
Sam Jackson.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It was I think that was the
I'm
first.
tired of these motherfucking basketballs on this motherfucking court.
Love me some Sam Jackson.
I think that was Channing Tatum's like first big film too.
May have been.
Yeah,
Step Up,
Step Up was.
I think, was his biggest or first. Like,
It might. I don't know if
but-
they would, if you consider Coach Carter a big film for him, but
Oh well.
it was a big film that he was in.
Yeah.
he had a role.
Yeah, Coach Carter's a great movie.
yeah, definitely like that one.
What's yours, Mr.
Oh, man.
Mr. Watchman?
I guess I probably couldn't tell you any one particular that I like as far as like one over the others, but I can tell you my favorites in certain
Certain sports.
like, I love The Replacements.
Oh,
I'm probably in
yes.
the minority there. A lot of other
No.
people
No,
like
it's a good
That
movie.
is my my favorite football movie is Friday Night Lights. I love that movie.
That's a great one.
But,
Yep, Billy Bob Thornton.
But if you're like football comedies, Replacements all the
Yeah.
way. It's so
That is
good.
a funny
It's
movie.
definitely better because I like like the other football comedies that they've done, like the Unnecessary Roughness and stuff like that.
Longest Yard.
They just got too silly. Now
people
the
not
original
like-
Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds, I like that one a lot better than the Adam Sandler one. It has a comedy, but there's some drama to it as well. The stuff like Unnecessary Roughness with Sinbad and Jill Ireland and stuff like that, it's just too silly.
So,
The Replacements was perfect.
did you not like the second Longest Yard? Like, really not like it, or
No,
you just
I
don't
didn't. I
like
thought it got just over the top, especially with they had ESPN there and Chris Rock's character, provides them with full-blown NFL type like uniforms, and it just got too much. I wouldn't have minded it if they would have kept it a little grounded, but it just kept
I mean, it was a
building.
comedy though. I
It
mean,
was a comedy, I understand, but they did it after the original Longest Yard, and that was more of the inmates versus the
Burt Reynolds
guard.
was in the second one though.
He was, yeah. He
did.
played the coach, right?
Yeah. What about you?
My favorite sports movie is not really. I mean, it is a sports movie, but some people wouldn't say it's about sports. Is Days of Thunder. It's about NASCAR, but it's more of like a drama.
Yeah.
But it's probably my favorite sports movie, and Space Jam.
Space Jam. Yeah.
I love Space Jam.
making a
Space
new-
Jam.
Such a good movie.
They're making another Space Jam, right? With
Yeah,
LeBron.
and they're gonna ruin it. Michael Jordan's so much better than LeBron.
Oh my god.
But we're not
Here
gonna
we
get
go.
into that today.
But
I like Days of Thunder, just from that goes back to the old argument where it's just a fun popcorn movie. It's kind of a guilty pleasure
well,
type of thing.
on that, I think Talladega Nights across the board might be one of the most popular sports movies, like sports comedies out of them all. Talladega Nights might be like
The thing about racing
top
movies
3.
is you don't get the sense that it's an athletic. Like they're just racing cars. You don't see the other side of it. And most racing movies aren't about racing cars at all. Like Driven, Days of Thunder, and Talladega Nights is more about the characters outside of, like, that's just their job.
yeah.
And that you're seeing them like deal with the rest of life while being a celebrity, and like Talladega Nights was just a spoof on the whole.
I thought that I was disappointed in Talladega Nights because I thought it could have been better. It was good. It had funny parts and everything, but
that is such a funny movie.
it is. And I'll give
can't-
you. And probably a lot of people went into that movie with no expectations. I went into it with high expectations and was a little disappointed. So that's probably why
Yeah.
it's not one of my favorites. I can still watch it when it's on and stuff, but
Yeah.
it doesn't ring home with me.
with racing though, Days of Thunder has just always been my favorite movie since I was a kid. But Rush with Chris Hemsworth
Yes.
and
Never seen
Daniel Bruhl, that's a great, and it is about racing.
What's
like,
about-
it is
yeah.
all about Formula One in the '60s,
Mhm.
and it is.
Ron Howard
Awesome.
did it, so you know it's good. I love Ron Howard. He does such an amazing job with
Dodgeball.
these movies.
That's one of my favorites.
There you go.
Dodgeball.
Now you're talking.
This
Globo
kid,
Gym.
I told him this morning when I told him we were doing this, I was like, I want you to, how many sports movies have you seen? And he goes, oh, I've seen a bunch. And he names off 2, and then he goes, and then he's like stumbled. I was like, you've seen a bunch, and you literally only named off 2 before you had to go to your phone. But then I was like, put a list together. So he put a list together, and he came to me later. He's like, dude, I've got like 50 movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's on this topic for the first time in Terra Neuh 1 history.
What are you talking about? Star Wars. I was crushing it. I was crushing Star Wars. I was pretty good on Alien Invasion. That was when we did the Independence. You said some bullshit about Independence Day.
You lost bad.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. You didn't.
Okay. Well, that's neither here nor there. But let's start with sports. Let's go with baseball. Best baseball movie you've ever seen.
Sandlot or the Moneyball.
Or do you want to bash a baseball movie? Like
No.
we can,
People
Yes.
always pick on baseball movies. I think Moneyball was really cool. That was like the most unique sports movie I've ever seen.
I love Moneyball.
Moneyball was really, really good. Sandlot was a classic movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Sandlot and Field of Dreams.
yeah. Is
But,
that the one with?
Kevin Costner's in that movie.
Did anyone see 42?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Was that good? I didn't see it.
Fantastic.
I
That's a great
really
movie.
want to watch that.
I'm not a baseball fan, so I have a hard time with baseball movies. The few that I have liked is Moneyball. I also liked Major League, the original Major League, but that's just because it's a silly comedy, you know, and it was really funny. It was my kind of humor. But I know some of the best sports movies that are listed out there are the movies like Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, those great baseball classics. I've seen them, but it was just never,
Yeah.
any of my speed.
Trouble with the Curve. Clint Eastwood.
Is that the one with
Amy Adams?
Is that the one where he's the Hispanic kid?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He finds him, and like the Braves want to take their first round pick with the guy that's like the sure thing. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and Clint Eastwood, the old guy, is like he has a hard time hitting a curveball, and he never had to hit a good one in high school.
Yeah.
So they bring him up in like a good pitcher. He's hitting in BP, and they're like, "Oh, he's great."
Yeah, and then a kid comes
And
out.
then the kid comes out and throws him a fucking real pitch,
Yeah.
and he can't hit it.
Right.
So I mean, it's a great movie though. Amy
Yeah.
Adams does really well in that, and they actually used Turner Field and the Braves organization to do that movie. So it's really a good movie.
Best football movie.
Well, I think we covered
Yeah.
most of the football.
What else
movies.
did we not talk about? I didn't know if you were trying to
remember
go in.
I guess remember the Titans, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And going back like Friday Night Lights, I just like
Right.
the whole aspect of that movie, starting with this is a team that's expected to be good, and
Yeah.
it's a bunch of high school kids and that pressure and dealing with their I like sports movies that actually have depth. You get a lot of sports movies where it's just about sports.
Yeah.
But I do like some of these ones that like Moneyball. There was a whole science behind that. Even the movie with Will Smith, was it called Concussion?
Concussion. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm indifferent about the whole concussion talks with
I'm
football in real life. He's like, I don't give a shit. Go out there and run your head into a damn wall. I liked that movie, but like I said, I'm indifferent about the actual topic of concussions in sports, because if you're going to go out there and run into a 290-pound guy, you kind of put your...
I don't want to get into it because that'll take us.
I
want to
hear your argument, but how
I feel on that. I won't get into that whole thing because that'll take us way off track. But
Yeah.
I didn't even see Concussion because I've got a pretty strong opinion about that. So going back to football real quick, there was one that I forgot about that I really enjoyed. It was kind of a comedy. It had George Clooney and I cannot think of the girl who was in it, but it was called Leatherheads, and it was about the origins of professional football. And it was really good. It was funny, because it showed how college football was the big deal.
Yeah.
Back in the day when they were trying to get professional football started, people thought it was a joke and were laughing at it and that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can stay with football. What's?
Rudy. How about Rudy?
Oh yeah, Rudy. Yeah. let's do that one.
Invictus.
Yeah, rugby.
I mean-
that was a cool movie.
Oh, not Invictus. I'm thinking of the other one.
Invincible.
Invincible.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
About the story of the guy
What's that movie with The Rock where he's like he's the football player, and then he gets like a kid randomly.
The game plan.
The game plan.
That was like, it seems like every macho superstar actor makes one of those movies. Vin Diesel made The Pacifier.
Is that the one where he's the babysitter?
Right, he's
and
the
he's
nanny.
like a secret agent.
And The Rock had to make the game plan, and Hulk Hogan made one.
Shaq was in Kazam.
Yeah, so it seems like all these macho men actors have to make that one, little kids movie where they're, out of their element and they're trying to change
Michael
diapers
Jordan
and teach
made
kids.
Space Jam.
Yeah, well,
but that movie was awesome.
That was
okay. Well,
let's
let's get it. Let's because we're kind of going around sports and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's start with like historical sports movies. So like
42.
Like 42. I don't know if did y'all see Race, the movie about Jesse Owens?
Yes.
No.
A great movie, great story.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hitler, his whole thing was the Aryan race.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to create so he thought that his, Aryan race athletes were the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Jesse Owens came over there and kicked all their asses, it really threw his
Won everything.
Right.
That he was entered in. Destroyed it. It was crazy.
What's
like
up?
he was the World War II version of Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Like had just crushed it.
Yeah. Invictus is like that though.
Yeah.
Invictus is about apartheid.
If we're going back to historical, I love Miracle.
Oh, Miracle! I didn't say that
yes.
one. Yeah.
Right,
That was a
movie's-
great movie. Kurt Russell.
Oh gosh,
Killed that.
I mean, that story is great.
is
I
crazy.
can't believe it took them that long, from 1980 till 2004,
That's the hockey movie.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To make that movie, because I mean, it seems like that event was actually a Disney movie.
Oh, that was.
It was so
That movie is
unbelievable.
awesome.
Talking on the topic of historical movies, I think we live in a great era right now where
Mhm.
in 20, 30, 40 years, we're going to see really great movies made about things we saw.
God, you stole my
LeBron
thunder.
James.
Yeah.
You stole my thunder, because that
Oh,
was going to be
so-
the end of the podcast. I was going to say, what sports movies in the future would you like to see? But that's good. No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no,
We're on the same way.
Yeah.
I
what-
think you're going to see a LeBron James movie for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think of other specific. I'm trying to think of like specific events.
I think
that-
we're going to see a lot of movies in the future about like handicapped sports. People that are like, amputees that are going out and running the Boston Marathon and doing it
killing
faster than
yeah,
people.
they're
and,
killing it.
The Paralympics have grown
Yeah.
over the past 10 years, and I know because my son is in a wheelchair, and he plays Paralympic sports, and it's just unbelievable how in the past decade they've grown. I mean, they were actually televising, the Paralympic events and the Invictus Games that Prince Harry is
That's
so
a big
deep
deal.
behind and everything. So
I'm also
it's
gonna
exciting.
I'm also going to take 10 seconds to say congratulations to your son being fought over by two very large universities to
Yeah.
play for them. I think that's awesome, and congrats to him, and hopefully everything
Yeah,
works
definitely.
out for him.
I appreciate
But,
that. Thank
uh,
you.
But yeah, I think this is a great era. Steph Curry. There will probably be a movie, at least that team. It might not be
Oh,
about
yeah.
Steph Curry,
The
but
Warriors
about the
will probably-
Warriors.
Or look-
And like movies of things that you lived through, and I was close to, but not like the Fab Five, the 30 for 30 that they made on that.
That was a really
awesome.
That was a really good one.
The Replacements was basically the story of the 1988 Washington Redskins, because it was about the strike season and about a bunch of guys who came in and saved the year. If you go back and look at that strike season in 1988, the Redskins would have not gone to the Super Bowl had it not been for those replacement guys, because they were the only team that didn't have anybody cross the picket line, and their players won all three games. Even in the last game when they played Dallas on Monday night, Dallas had actually some veterans cross the line, and the Redskins didn't, and they still beat Dallas. It was unheard of. Everybody thought Dallas was going to win that game for sure. And only just recently have those guys gotten Super Bowl rings
Yeah.
because of that event. They were the owners before said they didn't deserve it, but the current owner, which I'm a Redskins fan, and I'm not the biggest Daniel Snyder fan in the world, but I will say he got that right going back and retroactively giving those guys Super Bowl rings.
The Las Vegas hockey team will probably get a movie
Hey, you're right.
after what happened with the shooting, and then
I
them
really
being
like
an
hockey
expansion
movies.
team. Yeah.
I like, I
the
can't
Mighty
say.
Ducks.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I
Oh,
love the
Mighty
Mighty
Ducks.
Ducks. But 1 and 2, 3 was okay, but
And I hate hockey.
I'm not a big. I won't say I hate hockey. Like during hockey playoffs, I'm
I think
really
it's
into
fun.
it. And stuff.
I think it's really fun to watch.
It's
for
such
some
a
reason.
fast.
I think it's really fun to
It-
watch.
I just
It
have
is.
never
It's like
been
that-
able to. I like going,
yeah.
but like I've never been really into it
To me,
at all.
it feels like basketball, like even faster. Like basketball is fast paced.
Because it's on a small arena, you know.
In hockey, there's there's no stoppage. Well, there is stoppage, but it's not.
Yeah, it's pretty much nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost just go, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't say that I'm a hardcore watch it every, you know, every week type of thing. But bigger games when I know they're coming up, or definitely during the playoffs and the Stanley Cup, I'm sure. So I love the Mighty Ducks movies. I loved Miracle.
Let's talk about why you didn't like The Blind Side. What you felt.
The Blind Side was ruined for me personally because I just thought that Sandra Bullock played that character like a really cold bitch. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the way she played that. You know, I know that they were trying to, and maybe the real lady who she was portraying is like that, but I just thought she kind of played that part real snooty. I thought she kind of was like uppity because they were, you know, kind of came from money. And I know that she had a heart and she let this, you know, kid come and live with their family and that kind of thing. But I wanted him to establish that she was this tough Southern girl type of thing, and then let's get on to the story. But just throughout the whole movie, it was almost like fingernails on a chalkboard. After a while, it was just like she's too gritty, she's too mean, and I didn't like her as a person. As I'm watching the movie and I'm putting myself in, you know, because when I watch movies, I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
I will put myself in as a character, as if I were interacting with these people, and I would not want to hang out with this lady. I would not want anything to do with her.
Yeah.
I would, behind her back, I would say, that is one cold bitch. I don't like her.
Yeah.
She's nasty. She's just a snooty.
Yeah.
You know, when you're trying to tell a feel-good story, I wouldn't want that to be the case. So I know she got all kinds of accolades for it, and everybody loved it and all that, but it ruined the movie for me. I love the story of Michael Oher and all that, but just her attitude and the way she played that part, it was just gritty, and I didn't like it.
Well, I'm going to segue into golf movies, because golf movies are there's a lot of really good ones, and you know, I watch golf. I lived in Augusta for 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was surrounded by it a lot, but I wouldn't say I'm a golf fan. Tin Cup was a really good movie. Bagger Vance.
Yes.
Did you ever see Bagger Vance?
No, I haven't.
With Will Smith.
Super good movie.
It's good. Matt Damon too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an all-star cast right
There's
there.
a movie called Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones, I know the producer. Who
Really
produced that
good
show.
movie.
Yeah.
But my favorite of all time, and probably one of my favorite top 10 movies, is Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
course.
I love Caddyshack.
As
What Mr. Murray does. I love all Bill Murray's stuff. But he has a clothing line based on that movie now, like called William Murray. And he, like, a lot of the stuff, like, it's mostly just his golf line, but a lot of the things come from Caddyshack. Like, they have like a bucket hat, like
he and his brother own a bar too. But on the way down to Florida, I know if you're driving down 95 towards Daytona Beach, there is right after you leave Jacksonville, there's a big sign and it says Murray Brothers.
he has a bar called the Caddyshack.
Yeah,
And Mr. Murray does very well, and
I lived
even
a
in
lot-
Zombieland, when he's talking of like, what do you do during the week? And he's like, well, I put on this makeup and I go play 18 holes.
That's right.
It's like always talking about golf.
Golf is
Yeah.
his life
Awesome.
for sure. You know, I lived in Florida for so many years, and golf is huge in Florida because of the weather. You can golf year round, and they've got some of the nicest golf courses. Like you, I've never been a hardcore golf fan, but I appreciate what those guys do because that is damnedest
But
hard
still-
sport
Yeah,
ever.
This will
it's
go to
so
show you.
annoying. It's like the most frustrating.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
so
God!
bad at it.
And this will go to show you how good marketing is. I don't watch golf ever, but when the Masters comes on, it's like the Daytona 500 or the Super Bowl or the Olympics. Like the Masters is on. Like, oh shit,
Sure,
who's
man.
winning the Masters? Like, and it does.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought was the weirdest about the Masters is it does not count towards the PGA Tour. It's just an exhibition match that you want to win, and I've never understood that about it.
Mhm.
I don't know why they've never made a movie about the Masters, other than Bobby Jones, which was about Bobby Jones, who created the Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because the Augusta National has the rights to literally everything in Augusta. Let's talk about obscure sports movies.
There needs to be a curling movie because
Chariots
we
of
just won.
Fire.
I think where I was going with that is movies like Basketball
Oh.
and Dodgeball
Yeah.
and Balls of Fury and
Right, Balls
Oh
of
my
Fury.
God, Blades of Glory. Does that
Blades of
count?
Glory.
Oh my
Blades of Glory
God.
and
The
what
funniest
was
movie.
the one with Will Ferrell, the basketball movie? Did you ever
Semi-pro.
see it?
It was called
Semi-Pro.
Semi-Pro. Yeah.
There it is. Dark
Yeah.
Intern coming up with semi-pro.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
Didn't
it
even
was.
look at his phone. That's impressive. Those movies like Balls of Fury. Did you ever watch that?
I love
With
Balls of
Randy Daytona.
Randy Daytona.
Did you ever see it? It had
No.
Christopher Walken in it.
Oh, I think I have.
I declare, bang bang.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Oh yeah, I
So
know.
funny.
I've seen that one.
That is a satire on so many levels too, with the kickboxing movies that Jean-Claude Van Damme was in. like Bloodsport,
underground, ping
underground,
pong.
right?
Yeah.
These karate tournaments and that kind of thing, but they do it with ping pong. That was just classic. Dan Fogler makes me laugh.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Dan Fogler's just hilarious.
we totally skipped over all the Rockies. Yeah.
I was going to bring up boxing movies because there's so many great ones. Rocky, of course, is probably the pinnacle, but there's so many good ones like $1 Million Baby. What a great movie. I was so glad that won the Academy Award because that was excellent. Did you ever see it?
No.
You're missing out. Dude, you got to get that movie and
Yeah,
check
it's
it out.
really
It
good.
is really good. It'll make you cheer, it'll make you cry. It's one of those
Yeah, I'll
just
check it out.
it's solid. Clint Eastwood is in it,
And the Rocky movies, I mean, all of them,
including Creed.
Yeah, even Creed. I liked Creed. But when just the Apollo Creed fight. I love the Apollo Creed fight, and
Yeah.
and then the next one where the what's this guy, the Russian guy kills Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
What's the movie where they're like robots boxing?
Oh my God! No.
What's that movie
Real
called?
Steel.
Real
With
Steel
With Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. But
It's kinda sick.
on a similar topic, The Wrestler.
Yes.
Oh,
That
Nacho
movie.
Libre.
Oh my God!
Nacho Libre.
You just
I love that.
You
movie.
just
That's a great-
segued like one of the best sports movies ever made to Nacho Libre.
I do like Nacho
Nacho
I do
Libre.
Libre's a
too.
great movie.
It is,
Oh my gosh,
but
fantastic.
But have you ever seen The Wrestler?
No.
It's really,
But I've seen
it's really,
Nacho Libre.
It's really not even about wrestling.
Right.
It's about a guy that's dealing with trying to be famous still. But back to like obscure movies like basketball. I
don't know,
love
what
the
is
gu-
that?
I
What-
love the guys that make
Basketball?
South Park.
Mhm.
You've never seen basketball?
No.
You've
You would
seen
like that.
White Men Can't Jump, but you've never seen basketball.
I don't. How do you even spell it?
Well, basketball was probably more popular. I could see how, because it's kind of gone cult. Yes, it's a cult film.
It's about these two. Do you know who created South Park?
Yeah, the two
Yeah,
guys.
Parker and
Yeah,
They're-
yeah.
Matt Stone.
They're the main characters of this
Oh
movie.
my God!
They wrote
it's
it.
already probably funny.
They wrote it. They directed it. They produced it. It's their movie, and it's about these two guys that are just trying to like make some money on the side. They started it just because it was fun and it was a stupid game.
Well, they were
and
lazy.
They
and
were lazy. So they made up this game where you didn't have to really be athletic,
Mm-hmm.
and you could trash talk and all this other stuff, and it became like a mainstream sport.
Yeah.
It's a satire on the grassroots to the big leagues.
Yeah.
These guys that started from nothing and
Came
go
in,
to the
yeah.
top echelon of sports.
What's the?
You would
What's
love
the
it.
movie?
I'm telling you right now. I know you want to get there, but I just want to. I can't drive this point home enough.
how do
that
you spell
need
it?
To base, get
Oh,
ball.
base. I thought you were saying bay, like BAE, like.
It's
Basketball.
baseball and basketball put
Okay,
together.
cool. Hey, what's the movie where the movie they always play on MTV where they go to cheerleading camp? They're like the football players. It's called what is it called? It's called like Fired Up or something.
Bring It On.
No, Bring It On was the cheerleading movie, but I've seen it. It's about these guys that go to cheerleading camp so they can get laid,
It's like an American Pie.
and then they like.
But they have
become,
to-
like, but they're like really athletic because they're like the quarterback and the wide receiver on the high school football team.
It's
So like,
Turn his mic off.
yeah.
He doesn't get to talk anymore. for this.
He doesn't get to bring
All
up
right,
movies
all right.
anymore.
Well, you said you want to talk about the movies that don't get talked about, so you
Yeah.
dug your own fucking grave.
You're
there.
damn right.
Yeah, he goes, no, let's not bring up Rocky, so I brought up Fired Up.
Well, the reason is because we could do a 30-minute podcast on Rocky.
Okay,
I
whatever.
mean, you could do Rocky
You could do it-
1 through Creed and do 30 minutes easy.
Well-
I'm trying to just hit some things that don't get talked about.
Okay,
think
that's
Rocky-
what I did.
I think Rocky goes without
Yeah.
saying. I think most people,
Yeah.
whether you like the whole series or whether there's just a couple of them, I can't think of anybody that probably doesn't like the Rocky movies.
Last notes, sports movies. What do you want to see? I mean, what movie would you want to see? Whether it be about a real sports figure or
Mhm.
just something that they've never made.
I'm going to cheat because and Rubber Ducky knows this, but I'm going to say that I would like to see something with the Paralympians, you know, because it hits close to home with me, whether it's about a soldier who, you know, and there are some great stories out there. I've actually met some of these people at some of the events we've gone to, people that have gone off to war and, you know, had some, you know, horrible tragedy, got, you know, hit by an IED or something like that, and, you know, didn't know where their life was going to go, and sports really brought them back around to it.
It's competitive.
And it's very competitive. Yes.
It's no joke.
There have
Those
been
people
some
are
documentaries
athletes.
made.
Yeah.
You know, like Murder Ball and stuff like that. But I would like to see a scripted type movie that would deal with more of that, whether it's someone who got into a wheelchair because of an accident or someone who was born that way. That would be what I would like to see. I'd be the first in line.
I was really interested in go-karting. I actually raced for like 8 years competitively in the WKA. And I would like to see a go-kart movie because I think things like that, like dirt car racing, gets looked over, even though it is a very big sport. And dirt go-karts is where most people start. You can do it fairly cheap. It's very expensive to be competitive, but you can do it cheap. I mean, like $5,000 and you can be out the door.
Yeah.
Now in racing, that's you say $5,000, like that's a lot of money,
right,
but like in racing, that's nothing.
Right, correct.
Like I know people that spend $50,000 on crate motors for late model racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see like a Dirt to Daytona kind of movie where you see somebody like Jimmy Johnson or somebody like that who started in dirt racing and came up to.
The Last American Hero is a good movie about Junior Johnson. That's a pretty good one. I think it was Beau Bridges played Junior Johnson. It's an older movie, but it was really good. I'll tell you another good racing movie was, and it's one of my favorite Richard Pryor movies, is Grease Lightning, and it's about Wendell Scott. Probably one of the first movies that Richard Pryor did that wasn't a comedy, that was a drama, and he knocked it out of the park. He was excellent. And then I'll give a quick shout out to, I know it was a Disney Channel movie, but it was actually pretty good, was the story of Erica Enders, about the NHRA driver. That was a pretty good movie. It never went to theaters, but it was still...
And I mean, we could glaze over 1,000 movies that were really good that have come out. But
Sure.
I would really like to see a movie about those guys in the wrestling business in like the 90s, like Hulk Hogan and Bret the Hitman Hart. And,
you know what? That
would be a good movie.
You probably got something there.
You know what would be cool? There's a couple I think they should do. One that I think would be really cool is the women's UConn basketball team that won like 80-some games in a row.
Good
that was
call.
Probably crazy. There was probably stuff that went on.
What was
that would be a hard movie to do because your cast would have to keep changing, right? Because they went like 4 or 5 seasons.
That's true.
Straight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be done,
from
but
you could do it from the perspective of the coach.
Well, you could do it in the end when they lost.
Right.
Like, that they're trying to keep it alive. That probably daunting after a while having to keep.
You know what? There was some movie that came out recently within the past year or so about a football team. It was a high school football team that had won like 1,000 games. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They won like 1,000 games in a row, and it was about them losing. They take a loss, and the whole movie is about how it destroys this community and how, you know, some of these players. And it's like,
really?
Think about it.
I didn't see the movie.
You are part of the team that broke it.
True.
Like there's probably been dozens of players that played on that team, and then like you were part of the team that didn't win every game.
True, but here's the problem. I never saw the movie, but I remember seeing the trailer. And after the trailer was over, I turned to my buddy and I said, how are they going to make me feel sorry for a team that won for like 10 years straight? You know, that's like cheering for Johnny in the Karate Kid movie.
Yeah.
You know, he's got all these trophies and all these championships. You want to cheer for the underdog.
Yeah.
So instead of crying for Johnny getting kicked in the nose, you know, you cheer for the underdog. So it's
Johnny,
like, how am I
Johnny's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen How I Met Your Mother? You ever watched?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
where he's always talking about how Johnny was the hero in it.
Daniel
and
was the real
Daniel
bully.
was a bad guy because he took a cheap shot. Like
God.
it's so funny.
Cobra Kai. was great.
Kai.
That's
a great show.
I think there's a couple they could do. I think you could do one on the 2001 World Series that happened right after 9/11, and the Yankees went to it.
Just
lost.
because you're a Yankee.
Yeah, but that's a good story. They
How about
lost. They lost.
How
that
about
World
we do a
Series.
movie about the 2004 World Series where the Red Sox broke an
Oh my
86 game.
Whatever.
Yeah,
or you could do.
See, you say a Red Sox movie, he's like, no, but it's a Yankees movie. We should do it.
But they could do I think a good movie on maybe like everything that happened with like PEDs and their performance enhancing drugs in baseball, like that whole subculture of that, and whatever went on there. There's a bunch you could do.
I think they'll
It's
do
endless,
They'll
and
do
the
a
thing-
Pat Sullivan movie.
And the thing is,
Lady Vols,
Yes.
and all that stuff.
I agree with
She
that.
was-
I'm surprised
They'll probably do a Coach K movie
yeah.
at some
They
point
should.
because that guy is just ridiculous.
Coach K, certainly. That guy is
Yeah.
a living legend. All the great things he's done in his career and, the Olympic teams that he's led and everything is just
Well,
unbelievable.
Here's
So
the thing about sports: it's going to constantly be giving new material.
It does. It's definitely,
Well, and
it's a drama in itself.
Yeah.
And there's
It
new
just writes
sports that
itself.
come up every day. I mean, Red Bull is just trying to find sports.
Yep.
They made that air race thing. Have you ever watched that? That's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah.
But now there's that soccer golf. You ever seen that? It's
No.
freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's golf. There are golf courses made too. 9 and 18 hole golf courses where the cup is like this big,
And you got to shoot
and
soccer ball
you're
into?
kicking soccer balls.
Yeah.
Like it's like
You-
playing soccer.
That actually sounds
but
fun.
Yeah.
No, it's very fun. I played it one time. It's awesome. You're exhausted at the end of it though,
Oh, I
because
bet.
you don't think kicking a soccer ball for 9 or 18 holes would be a lot until you do it. All right, well let's end this. It's over.
We're done.
That's my dark intern ending.
Before we end this, we've got a bone to pick.
Oh my! I thought we were gonna get out of here.
No, he thought we were going to get out of here about this.
This segment is sponsored by
Outback Steakhouse. Yes, it is.
for 5 days straight.
Oh my God! This is the worst part of it.
For a week, I won't embellish. For a week, the dark intern bugged us about going to lunch to Outback Steakhouse. I hate going to Outback because when you go there for lunch, you're there for an hour and a half. They're just not fast. So we tried to put it off. Finally, we gave in to the young man and said, you know what? We're going to go to the Outback because he's obviously got something there he's got to taste
And we
for.
let this guy order last. too.
Rubber Ducky, tell our audience what he ordered.
I'm gonna give you the rundown because we all got our bread, and I ordered some pasta and chicken dish, and you ordered a steak dish. A person that we know that was with us ordered a steak dish, and Mr. Intern over here has the balls to order chicken tenders and fries.
Chicken tenders and fries, like right off the kids' meal. So we are all sitting here stuck, held hostage at Outback Steakhouse
For an
and
hour
their
and a
slow
half.
service. So he can have chicken tenders. We could have gone to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we could have gone to McDonald's and got good chicken tenders.
Listen, they're so fucking good. You don't-
It's
you don't
chicken strips
understand
in batter.
how good they are.
I do.
They are amazing.
Have you ever had anything else at Outback? 'Cause
Yeah, hell yeah.
There's other good things there.
Oh, the Alice Springs chicken or the different steaks.
The
that they
ahi
have.
tuna.
Oh, yeah.
They got good stuff. But
No.
the chicken fingers.
I'm gonna
man.
take you guys to Ruth Chris, and we're gonna get a personal pan pizza.
We'll go around the table. Big boy meal, big boy meal, big boy meal, kids menu.
I was satisfied. That's
I was really surprised he didn't say, "Do y'all have any Easy Mac back there
Next time,
or some Gushers?"
you're paying.
Oh.
This is episode 6 of Terra Neuh 1. Thanks for joining us.
Don't buy chicken tenders.